We don't get into an election cycle without this issue cropping up. It's a mainstay of Philippine politics. Actually, hindi lang sa Pilipinas, political dynasties. So may bago pa ba ngayong magkakaroon na ng 2025 national and local elections? I'm Miriam Grace Go, Rappler's managing editor, and you're watching Newsbreak Chats. This is where we talk to Rappler journalists about their in-depth and investigative reports as well as their special coverages. I'm with Cupin, our senior reporter and veteran of election coverages. Dwight and James Patrick Cruz, who were out in the field covering the quote-unquote fiesta that was the filing of certificates of candidacies and nominations during the first week of October. So let's go straight to the juicy parts. So Dwight, as we said, the dynasties have always been there, pero any new trends you've seen during the COC filing?
We were talking about this noong kasagsagan din ng COC filing na siguro slightly surprising na maraming from the same family tumatakbo at the same time. For example, yung pinaka-striking sa national position, yung Tulfos, dalawang Tulfos na tatakbo for the Senate. Hindi natin to usually nakikita kasi in the past, parang ang strategy is, pagbigyan mo muna, isa muna sa pamilya para hindi magkahatian ng boto. But now parang they feel emboldened to run at the same time. And also because the surveys are showing that they are the front runners. So there's that. And if you add all the Tulfos that could win next year, kapag umupo na sila, 6 sila, 3 sa Senado.
3 sa Senado.
That's Erwin and Ben, and Raffy. And sa House, and then the re-electionist, yung anak ni Raffy na si Ralph, and yung asawa na si Jocelyn for ACT-CIS. And then there's also Wanda Tulfo-Teo, the former DOT secretary, who's running for a party list seat. So 6 na yon. Then nakita rin natin siya sa local na yun nga, yung pinaka tumataka is yung pagtakbo ng mga Santos ng Recta family sa Batangas. Governor, and hindi lang governor, yung vice governor position, anak ni Vilma Santos, and also the congressman, anak din ni Vilma Santos. So it's interesting, and also parang appalling ba yung term na parang ganito na sila ka-emboldened to stretch the limits of what's possible when it comes to political dynasties in the Philippines.
And as Bea was saying off-cam kanina, parang dati ang expansion ng dynasties is different local positions. Ngayon pati party list.
Yeah, even the party list system. Dalawang party list yung Tulfos.
3 bale.
Tatlo na ba?
Well,
2 sa ACT-CIS, yung sa UP1.
So two different party lists. And then to add din, syempre, once upon a time they were in the cabinet as well. And also the recto factor. I mean, secretary yung
of finance.
Like patriarch yung matatawag mo ng So parang all levels of government, they're all over the place.
At saka yung mga Tulfo, interesting kasi parang for the longest time, sinasabi nga natin, ano ba yan? 2 magkamag-anak, sabay nagsesenador. Ngayon, pag nanalo yung 2 Tulfo, 3, this is the first time.
It's like 1/8 of the Senate.
Yeah, they're joining a family affair in the Senate to begin with. Pero kung 3 sila,
they will be the biggest family in the Senate.
Parang na yun block na yun ng sarili nila.
Actually, they even said it na parang magiging Tulfo block. I think it was Erwin who said it. Na syempre, kung magde-decision kami, I mean, parang we hold the same values. So. And then, siguro you also added, isa pang napansin ko, dahil nabanggit na naman natin yung party list, parang nagiging inheritance na rin yung party list seats.
Parang, yung nominations.
Oo, parang pag may mga term limited na kongresista, ang papalit sa kanila is kamag-anak. For example, sa Tingog, si Congresswoman Nieda, the wife of the speaker, is term limited. So, ang first nominee ng party list group is anak nila ni speaker. Tapos, sa GIP, dahil si Congressman Rodante Marcoleta is running for a Senate seat, yung first nominee nila, anak ni Congressman Marcoleta. Sa Kabayan, asawa ni term limited Ron Salo. And then, to an extent, yung anak ni Grace po, ni Senator Grace po, si Brian Paula Manzares, because Grace po is limited, is entering politics through the party list route. So it's
a party list that carries the name of his grandfather.
FPJ Bayanihan, something. Ayun, Panday Bayanihan.
And then the rise of vloggers. Maraming nag-file na vloggers.
Yes, so
influencers.
Yung iba nasa 200,000 to 300,000 yung followers, meron nasa 800,000. Tapos yung iba, yung strategy is parang sila yung face of the party list. For example, yung pinakatumatak si Diwata, yung famous for his paresan. If you look at it, he's only the fourth nominee. So the chances of him,
Malamang hindi.
di ba?
Getting is definitely, it's nil.
Or kung sakali lang may mag-back out dun sa tatlo. But ito ang sa iba, ang tumatak na is siya yung supposedly upo, which is hindi naman.
And even sa local, sa Manila, meron tayong si Mocha Uson, who's running for councilor under Isko Moreno. And then, aside from her, meron din si Rosmar, if you're familiar.
Yeah.
Is a TikToker and a businesswoman. So, who's also running for as a councilor in Manila.
I should just point out, no, siguro what gives these influencers the confidence is to run is the number of their followers. Kasi ang party list, usually you would only need 350,000, 400,000 votes to get a seat, no, historically. Pero hindi naman laging nagtatranslate yung number of followers into number of voters.
Si Mocha din, di ba? I think she
Run for Senate before.
or for a house seat yata motor is for
party list.
for party list, but it didn't translate to a win.
And also,
Si Doc Willie,
Yes.
2022, di ba?
Yes.
A million plus followers. Tas hindi
It
naman.
doesn't always. But then you have cases like one writer, the second, yung second rep ng second nominee rather ng one writer, who basically wala nakakakilala outside of his circles. But apparently, if you talk to motorists,
They know
They
him.
know him.
he's like he's the
Celebrity.
biggest star, right? So parang interesting din yung ganun na yung nasa radar natin, hindi sila nakalusot noong 2022, pero people who were not even under. They were not in our radars kasi hindi naman tayo hindi tayo bikers. Right? Like nagulat na lang tayo na, oh my God, sobrang popular pala ng taong ito.
And if you look at the election results, like in the 2022, they were that second highest sa party list elections.
votes.
To the point na for the 2025 elections, si Busita feels confident enough to run for senator.
Saka parang meron silang solid community of motorcycle riders and even yung mga ride-hailing drivers kasi parang yung pinupush nila na mga measures.
Kasi yun yung tunay na sectoral representation, di ba? If you really have a sector as a voter base, makakagarner ka ng votes. But let's go back to Metro Manila, Patrick. Parang Metro Manila seems poised to have some of the most interesting races. Can you tell us about some of them?
Mas madugo siya kasi sobrang daming family dramas. So, unlike yung other families na mayroong sense of unity na meron silang particular seat or assignment kung saan sila tatakbo.
Assignment talaga.
Assignment, no?
Yes.
For Metro Manila, for some cities, merong nag-aagawang
Na
magkamag-anak.
Okay. Wait, punta tayo dun sa, nasaan yung mga families sa Metro Manila na may unity and assignments yung mga families?
So, I think first is Manila. Meron tayong si Isko Moreno who's eyeing a comeback as mayor. And then yung anak niya
He's fielding his son.
is running for councilor, which is first time. Napakabata, he's just around 22 years old. Ang requirement, I think, for councilor is 21. So, a neophyte politician. Meron din tayong father and son tandem in Caloocan, the
Malapitan?
Who else?
In Navotas, the Tiangcos. Ang mga Tiangco hindi nag-aaway nagpapalitan lang pero hindi nag-aaway, no?
Just like the Gatchalians.
The Gatchalians. You're naman yung Gatchalian running.
Yes, interesting yung Valenzuela because yung fourth Gatchalian sa apat na magkapatid na never
Was apparently the oldest. I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that there's a fourth
I wasn't aware
I
then.
learned.
Well, merong mga rumors kung sino ba tatakbo for the house na na-vacate because
Si Rex was appointed.
Yes, appointed. So, ayun, bigla siyang nag-appear na lang out of nowhere, Kenneth Gatchalian, which was a businessman. And nung nag-file siya ng candidacy, as in, no media interview, as in picture-taking lang. So, hindi natin siya natanong kung ano ba yung policies niya or ano yung agenda niya if he ever wins a seat sa House. So,
Or what prompted him to step out of the spotlight? Kasi parang siya kumbaga yung nakatoka sa business nila dapat. First time na may national.
How about the localities in Metro Manila na, well, nag-aawa yung mga pamilya?
so number 1 is Makati City.
Yeah, most interesting. Yeah.
Yes, so a battle between in-laws. So we have Senator Nancy Binay, who was term limited.
Running for mayor.
Running for mayor. And ang kalaban niya is yung asawa nung kapatid niya na si Abby, which is si Luis Campos, incumbent congressman. So, interesting fight kasi, ayun, parang it's also parang familiar narrative sa mga Binay kasi even before nagkaroon ng away si Junjun Binay and si Abby Binay for mayor. And interesting din kasi parang yung dynamics between the two, between Nancy and Luis Campos, parang tinitreat ni Nancy na outsider si Luis Campos. Naalala ko nung interview namin siya na bakit siya dapat i-elect. Sabi niya, if the Makatizens want to continue the Binay brand of service, they should go for her. And one of the reporters there asked na if si Campos ba or the other camp won, wouldn't it be a Binay kind of service? Ang sagot ni Abby, ni Nancy, parang wala siyang direct answer but sinabi niya na she pointed out na she grew up in Makati and doon na siya lumaki, nag-asawa. Unlike her brother-in-law, Luis Campos, na lumipat lang sa Makati just because of marrying her sister.
At siya yung talagang Binay. Yeah. How about in Las Piñas? The Aguilars are fighting.
Aguilars, yes. Cousins fight naman to. So, meron tayong, what's her name? Las Piñas. So, magpinsan. So, merong parang dalawang faction. Meron under the ticket of the mayor and then under the ticket of Cynthia Villar. Tapos interesting din yung sinagot ni Cynthia Villar when she was asked about yung feud between their family na parang it's natural kasi daw second generation na daw ng Aguilar yung tumatakbo. Parang napaisip ako na natural progression ba yun ng isang political dynasty na once a political dynasty is well entrenched, meron bang tendency for them na magkaaway-away?
Pwede kasi if
Because power corrupts.
yeah,
Parang
hindi, if you raise kasi,
siyang
diba?
agawan ng lupa. Alam mo yun? Yung agawan ng lupa sa
Kasi
probinsya.
diba, if you will raise your next generation sa family na wala silang ibang tinitingnan na future nila but politics. Syempre mas marami kayong anak.
Yeah.
And hindi naman ganun kabilis dumadami yung positions na tatakbuhan. Inevitably mag-aaway talaga. But, okay, so madrama ang Metro Manila, but it doesn't mean the provinces have less drama. So, Bea will tell us about our favorite city, Davao.
No, it's gonna be so interesting in Davao. I mean, this isn't the first time na obviously not the first time na may nag-challenge sa Duterte clan, Rodrigo Duterte, the former president to be specific. It's not even the first time na Nograles will mount what will approximate to be this most serious challenge siguro against Rodrigo Duterte. Many years back, old man Nograles and Prospero Nograles, the father of Cardinal Nograles, famously challenged Rodrigo Duterte. Famously also, sobrang palpak siya sa attempt na yon, right? But there have been times actually na muntikan si Duterte matalo sa mayorship. I think the one time that he left to be in Congress.
Yeah.
A time that he hated. So, it's interesting also because, kumbaga, para siyang mirror of national politics, right? Because we all understand the 2025 elections to be not just a halftime check on the Marcos administration, pero technically first time natin to for the Duterte clan to actually be challenged and checked, you know, not just sa Davao but nationally. Right? Yung kung ano ba yung hold ng Duterte clan on this sounds so pessimistic kasi we just accept that the Duterte clan does have a hold on national politics. But, so, it's a referendum on both families.
Yeah.
And I think there's gonna be, in a way, para siyang microcosm ng nangyayari nationally. Kasi I don't think they've declared their affiliations yet, but we expect the Nograleses to be on the Marcos, the admin slate, to be affiliated with the admin slate. And na-point out ito ni Ramon Beliano, who I spoke to last week, na this will be the first time na hindi liligawan ng admin in power ang Duterte clan. Na sila yung kalaban ng... Kasi year in and year out, whether it be a presidential campaign or a midterm campaign, you see Rodrigo Duterte standing with all of the presidents we've elected so far, right? He campaigned with Pinoy. He campaigned with Gloria. He campaigned with everyone kasi you can't win not just the city but the Davao region kung wala kang suporta ni Rodrigo Duterte. But now, obviously, the President Marcos will not be campaigning with Rodrigo Duterte, right? So parang ang interesting lang ng gano'n na parang kumbaga, and then we have not just the Nograles clan, but several other clans. Smaller clans, perhaps, trying to coalesce together, again, to challenge the Dutertes, who are, speaking of dynasties, like, there are Duterte, it's an abundance of Dutertes.
Expanding.
So we have, nilista ko siya kasi ang dami nila. So the former president is running for mayor, obviously challenged by Carlo Nograles, who was CSC and who was the cabinet secretary of the old man Duterte.
Former spokesperson din for a time.
Yeah.
At one point, nga pala, he was the spokesperson. And then the youngest son of Rodrigo Duterte has slid down to vice mayor. Yung analysis dito, ayun nga, parang nagdalawang isip sila to field si Melchor Kitain Jr., who is also a second generation Kitain. Yung dad niya was also parang administrator ata ni Rodrigo Duterte, and it's all in the family.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he won't be running for vice mayor anymore. We have several new Dutertes coming in, two pala. Rigo Duterte is going to run sa first district as councilor. And then another Duterte, we have another one. May isa pa, di ba?
Kaninong anak si Rigo?
Si Rigo, I think, anak ito ni Pulong. Pulong is gunning for this first district again, and he's gonna be challenged by Migs Nograles, who is a member of the House but as PBA. And we have to remember, yung first district, traditionally, Nograles bailiwick yan. Napunta lang siya sa Dutertes noong nag-truce yung dalawang clans because Rodrigo Duterte won the 2016 election. So kumbaga, kung narratives lang, no, it's the Nograleses trying to recapture the first district. Because it's a risk, right, to make Migs, who is kind of making a name for herself in the House, run as district rep as opposed to PBA rep. No, more or less, feeling ko, kung PBA siya,
Mas madaling
Oo, sure na sila eh. Kasi medyo captured na nila yung PBA na...
Content creator din siya.
Oh yeah, before sumabak sa politics, no? So parang... So this is going to be their attempt to recapture the first district. And bigger aspirations are to capture the city. Sounds so pessimistic. Again, but diba, to try to wrestle Davao out of the Duterte's hands. And anong consequence to sa Duterte's? Nakakahiya for them. If they lose Davao City, right? Yeah. If they lose Davao City, and we're not even gonna talk about muna the bigger region, right? Kasi yung...
But interesting that matanda na si former president, bakit niya kailangan tumakbo ulit? Because I think it's an acknowledgement na yung mga heirs niya are not as strong as he was sa mga botante kaya. And there's a danger na
Basta, unfortunately, we don't have the hard numbers kasi walang mga domestic polling na siguro parang we can cite or na public, right? But there is a certain sentiment na Baste isn't parang kumbaga the same kind of Duterte that they're used to, referring to Rodrigo and to Sara Duterte, the current vice president. So may ganong sentiment. Tapos nung nagka-ugong-ugong na nga, na Carlo might run for mayor, kinabahan, syempre, yung camp, na parang, oh my gosh, like, we might actually lose the city hall if we don't field a stronger candidate. And the stronger candidate is the old man who, you know, I mean, we've seen videos of him. Like, he's not at his prime.
Yes, exactly.
Clearly not at his prime. So,
but knowing the Davaoenos, baka kasi if the choice is between the former president and somebody else. And siguro for the information of our viewers, yung sinasabi ni Bea na nililigawan ng national politician si matandang Duterte, not just for the Davao City vote but the entire region, kasi nung araw when the entire region was still a province, hindi pa siya nahahati into several Davao provinces, the governor was Duterte's father.
Yes.
Alilolo Nina Sara.
Tsaka yung hugpong nga dati, until now, both hugpongs are regional parties, right? So you can see talaga na the influence of one Rodrigo Duterte is not in Davao City lang. So, yeah.
But one trend pala no na well, at least ngayon na spotlight. It could have happened before, but na spotlight ngayon because of Vilma Santos is yung trend sa local na magkamag-anak yung nasa local chief executive position at saka yung head ng local legislature, meaning governor and the vice, mayor and the vice, magkamag-anak. This is like a new level of capturing local governance. Meron pa bang iba?
Actually, hindi naman siya bago eh. Kasi actually, tinignan ko lang yung first page ng Congress website. Tapos, meron na agad doon, for example, sa Isabela, the Albanos. Albano ang governor, one of the congressmen. Albano din. Sa Lanao del Sur, Adyong ang governor, ang congressman is
of several districts.
No, but yung vice sa local.
Yun yung
bagong iteration.
Kasi parang gets mo naman na, okay, sige, the governor, congressman, sige, they want to capture the LGU post and the congressional seat. Pero this time, the two highest posts in the provincial. So basically, parang may monopoly na siya ng ideas kapag...
At mawawalan na totally ng checks and balances, di ba? Parang, the governor or the mayor says, this is what I want. Kailangan ng approval ng board or ng council. Kung ang presider mo, yung vice is kamag-anak.
Well, for Pasay, meron tayo.
So, bukod kay Ate V at kay Luis sa Batangas, we have Pasay.
Yung the Calixto. So, meron tayong re-electionist mayor, Imelda Calixto. And then yung pamangkin niya, yung tumatakbong vice mayor, which is Mark Calixto, an incumbent councilor. And siguro to note na rin na hindi lang silang dalawa yung tumatakbo, but also meron tayong councilor, yung anak ni Imelda, which is Luigi, running for councilor. And then yung brother ni Imelda running for Congress.
Yeah. So they're re-electionist.
Sa Bacoor din, no? Mayor si Strike Revilla. I'm not, pero right now, hindi ko alam kung nag-file for re-election si Rowena, no? But right now, si Strike Revilla is the mayor and the vice mayor is his ate, Rowena.
And bunti ko na makalimutan, sa home province ko, Miss Gigi, Oriental Mindoro, the incumbent, si Governor Bonsilor, is seeking re-election. Tapos yung running mate niya is yung kapatid niya. So,
to connect it back to Davao, naalala ko lang, the Ruy Lopez who tried to challenge Baste in the 2022 elections for the mayoralty post. Kaya rin sila kumalas sa Duterte coalition back in the kailan ba tumakbo si Sara? Basta when Duterte fielded Sara Duterte as
2016.
No, I mean for vice mayor. Yung una niyang pasok sa politics.
So before 20.
Kasi yun yung point niya. Kasi he also comes from Ruy Lopez, the son of the former Davao mayor also na Lopez. Yung point niya ay, dynasty rin siya pero yung point niya ay, wag naman tayong maging greedy.
Ng mayor and vice
mayor.
mayor
Na nga, vice mayor pa.
And this is what the Dutertes are doing now, no?
Yeah.
For 2025.
And
mayor
we
vice.
just also have to, if you want to imagine things, then look at the lineup, right? So you have a Duterte mayor, possibly. Another Duterte for vice mayor. Councilor, crucial din to ha, na you have Arrigo Duterte running for councilor because if Rodrigo Duterte say he wins, and let's say something happens to him that forces him to vacate his post, and then therefore, Baste goes up to mayor, and who will go up to vice mayor?
The number one councilor.
Ito si Rigo. So, and they also expect him to be the number one councilor of not just the district, but ano yun, parang may voting din na ganun, di ba? Parang siya yung first among equals kumbaga sa city council. Therefore, he could stand to become the vice. Parang may ganun din na
Actually, Duterte the old man could just step down after winning, di ba?
Pwede rin.
Ganun, di ba? Kasi
Actually,
don't
kahit
have to
walang
wait for
mangyari sa
something
kanya.
to happen.
Okay, di naman kailangan may mangyari sa
So,
kanya. Mahalaga lang, parang ma-induct,
ma-secure niya yung post.
ma-take lang yung oath. Tapos,
Another backdoor.
Another backdoor, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the arguments are always tilted against the dynasties. No? Si Raymond Narag, Professor Raymond Narag, articulates them well in his thought leader piece. I'll read from it. Sabi niya, this move, referring to Vilma, governor, and Luis, vice governor, this move stifles the potential of other capable politicians who could serve the public but are excluded simply because they do not belong to an influential family. This creates a political landscape where elected officials are chosen not on merit but on familial ties, and depriving the country of the full range of talent and competence needed for nation building. He also writes, once entrenched in power, political dynasties will do everything in their capacity to remain there, so often resorting to corruption and violence. Studies have shown that areas dominated by political dynasties tend to suffer from higher rates of poverty, weaker institutions, and rampant corruption. This is because dynastic families are more concerned with maintaining their power base than addressing the needs of the people. Political nepotism can indeed be considered a form of corruption. While political nepotism may not always involve direct financial gain, it distorts the democratic process and gives undue advantage to family members, thus violating the spirit of fair governance. Kaya sabi niya, ang political nepotism, ang political dynasties is fundamentally unethical and immoral. Ang problema natin, it seems the voters don't mind. Do you agree?
Feeling ko din it's also a factor of hindi lang na don't mind, but you don't even give them the choice. Parang going back to the idea of stealing from the electorate, it doesn't need to be actual stealing of government coffers, right? Not hindi budget yung pinag-uusapan natin, not even that. Just the option to choose. Kasi, kumbaga, kunwari, you are a young upstart politician. Let's say, naswerte ka, tumakbo kang konsehal. Ganyan. And then you dream na parang, oh, baka kaya kong maging mayor one day. But then you see that the mayoralty post is, kumbaga, may bottleneck, tas puro same family names. Parang gaganahan ka pa bang tumakbo?
At mag-spend ka pa ba ng pera kung matatalo ka rin?
Look at Pasig City, right? The candidate was able to break the chokehold of the Eusebios. It's also technically a dynastic.
Yes.
That belongs to a dynasty, although not in Pasig. But he comes from two, parang kumbaga double advantage siya, political
Dynasty.
and a celebrity dynasty, right? So parang it took that kind of person to break, diba? Parang, can you just imagine how difficult and how impossible it is for aspiring people?
So if you have 82 provinces and 1,400 plus municipalities, you would need one VICO level newcomer to break
the monotony, parang ganon. So parang kumbaga, you're stealing din the voters' capability to imagine a different kind of governance. Kasi you do reach a point of parang jadedness na parang, this is sila lang naman.
Kasi at one point, I was also thinking, why do dynasties thrive? Parang tamad ba tayo na constituents or electorate na because we don't campaign hard for alternative candidates, or don't we parang hold the dynasty members accountable so that ma-expose or ma-spotlight yung inefficiencies and corruption nila? But hindi kalaban din kasi ng voters nga yung institution. Ano? There's another view naman, sociologist Dr. Melba Magay. Ang sabi niya sa kanyang thought piece on engaging the dynasties. Basahin ko, no? It may be necessary to first of all recognize that while we have borrowed such modern ideas and systems such as the quote-unquote nation state, we are still in our collective unconscious and expanded collection of balangays. communities held together by kinship and a complex web of interrelated interests and loyalties. It took the West 5 centuries, 500 years, to evolve out of warring fiefdoms and consolidate into what we now call nations. Yet countries that have decolonized are expected to behave as nations over a period of 50 years, in our case more than a little over 100. No? We declared ourselves a republic in Malolos, the first in Asia, but subsequent events tell us that we have yet to develop a national consciousness. We have all the hardware of what makes for quote-unquote democracy, but the software remains within the limited radius of familial loyalties and that we call sakop, and tends to overrun formal systems of governance. So chicken and egg ba ito? Because, the dynasty members are saying, binoboto naman kami ng botante. But the governance watchers are saying, but we don't give space kasi for more choices.
Well, minsan naman may mga nag-emerge na mga alternatives sa localities. But yun nga, tama naman yung view niya. If you look at it, yung politics sa provinces, patronage politics siya eh. So, kung ano yung directly nakakatanggap sila ng tulong, minsan yun din yung binoboto ng tao. So, ang hirap mag-evolve from that when yun yung nakasanayan ng publiko. Tapos, yun nga, sabi ni Bea, dinideprive natin yung public ng other options. And sa Senate, sa House, 'di ba may measures filed against political dynasties na hindi naman never siya nag-prosper. And if we ask Erwin Tulfo, 'di ba, anong stand niya sa political dynasty? Sabi niya, well, as long as there's no law, what can we do? But if you look at it, sino ba yung gagawa nila? Sila din. So it's against their interest to pass a measure that would limit the powers that they can obtain.
Well, yun yung question na parang staple question namin dun sa ng mga nagpa-file for congressman dito sa Metro Manila. Parang merong yung na-pointed out na walang clear definition and kailangan sila yung mag-define. Parang indirectly nila nililihis yung answer. Parang first answer nila is that hindi naman nila kasalanan kasi binoboto nga sila ng tao, so it's the people's choice. Tapos tinanong namin, would that be a priority, the defining political dynasty? Tapos, well, naalala ko yung sagot ng isang congressman or aspiring congressman, re-electionist. Well, any vague law should be defined. Pero tinanong namin, would that be your priority? Parang
ibang usapan na yun.
Oo, nagngitian lang yung...
Parang, why would I legislate something that will work against my interests? In fact, there's a survey by a new polling from WR Numero. It shows that 56% of voters don't have issues with dynasties. 30% may issue and the rest are unsure. So, ang laking majority na. And then, the most accepting of political dynasties are those in the Visayas. 65%, they don't find issues with dynasties. In Mindanao, it's 58%, followed by North and Central Luzon, 56%, and then by South Luzon, 51%, and Metro Manila, 46%. So, away from Manila, mas mataas yung may tolerance or don't find anything wrong with dynasties. Pero, majority pa din.
Yeah.
Diba? Kahit bumababa yung percentage, it's still always 50% plus 1 don't find issues with dynasties. No? So, wala bang pag-asa talaga ang
I think again
anti-dynasty?
it's also, parang feeling ko it's also wrong kung yung hugot mo sa data nito, okay lang pala. Parang, again, it goes back to, we're not giving the voters then the chance to imagine a world na it's not the same family names that you have. And I think the challenge for politicians, and this is a huge challenge, aside from, getting over yourself and passing legislation that might not benefit you. Kasi yung parating argument nila, bukod sa, ay, pinipili naman kami, parang sabihin nila na parang, kasi yung brand ng family namin, parang marunong na kami tumulong ng kapwa, parang you don't have the monopoly on help and husay
Raymond Darag said that sa kanyang piece about Vilma Santos. Wala na bang iba sa Batangas that you have to monopolize
wala
the
naman
major
kayong monopoly
positions?
dyan. And yun nga, parang again, I think, parang siyang akin to, like a small aquarium. You're robbing all the oxygen away from anyone else who might be able to thrive sana in that space, right? So parang if you say na, marunong kasi, pero kung we know how to serve already, parang who are you to say na another person might know even better than your clan does. Parang, so the challenge there is, part of leadership, I would think so, is also knowing when to step back. Na parang, sure, I can win.
Kung wala nga silang ganun. So, I don't think we should expect the members of political dynasties to think that
To
way.
self-correct in that way.
Parang ano yun self-destruction yun, if ever. No? Parang, I think the onus is on the voters and civil society and the alternative
Emerging
politicians,
leaders,
the emerging leaders.
But it's a struggle it's just a struggle that talon tayo sa ibang issue kunwari, like for the Liberal Party, it's such a struggle for them to look for new champions. Right? Parang kung sila na nga, they were dwindled post-2016, but they still had the network dapat to find new faces, new names, new talent. Nahirapan nga sila. So like, kung yun pa lang, hirap na, can you just imagine siguro sa mga probinsya, sa mga town, sa mga municipality, paano ka makakahanap ng space na maghanap or mag-emerge kung gusto mo magbida-bida at feeling mo kaya mo na maging, new face, ang actual bagong Pilipinas in the election.
It also doesn't help na yung presidente mo is
part of a dynasty.
Part of a political dynasty.
And is
Your vice
shameless.
president.
And is shameless about
diba?
it. Yeah.
And if we know naman how Congress works, minsan, di ba, kumukuha lang din sila ng instructions from the president kung ano yung priority legislation. So if, alam mo, a world where an anti-political dynasty measure would work, ay kapag may nahalal na pangulo na may political maturity to step back, to political maturity to say na, alam mo yun, even if I'm part of a dynasty or even if I benefit from a dynasty, I know that this isn't good for the country.
Yeah.
Even yung presidents kasi natin in the past na the impression is sila yung matitino and all. Dynasties, Cory Aquino, Noynoy Aquino,
had a president
even
in dynasty?
FDR, 'di ba? May Letis Shahanika, merong yung anak nila.
There's no Philippine president that
Walang,
doesn't come from a clan.
FPJ would have been the first. No.
Would have been.
Would have been.
the
Yeah.
But also came
There is now a dynasty.
it was,
yeah.
sorry,
Oh,
of course.
Across Metro.
Asawa,
Yeah,
mga
yeah.
anak.
And I guess any hope for an anti-dynasty legislation was squashed the moment na pinsan ang speaker, ang House Speaker. Ano yung title ni Rep. Marcos? He is the
Senior Deputy Majority.
Senior Deputy Majority. And then, of course, you have Yeda, Rep. Yeda,
Accounts,
outgoing.
yeah.
So parang the current president talagang both sides ng family dynasty talaga, no? But election lawyer Emil Maraño wrote a few years ago for Rappler that yung nagpipin siya ng hope doon sa SK Reform Act because the SK Reform Act has a provision that the one running for SK must not be related within the second civil degree to any incumbent elected national and local official. So sabi niya, hindi ba yon yung hinihinga nilang supposedly enabling law? I-extend lang natin or baka pinalusot lang kasi SK. But already, nalulusutan na to kasi hindi ka dapat related sa barangay captain ng tinatakbuhan mo. So, paano kung tumakbo sa kabilang barangay? So, inulusot ka na. But Emil was also pointing out na baka pwedeng i-consider or i-push ng mga, at least the progressives in Congress, no? Ang wording daw kasi sa Constitution is when you need like a full implementing law, it's always as provided by law. Pero dito daw sa provision about political dynasties, ang wording lang is as defined by law, meaning is it just a matter of defining kung ano yung extend ng size ng political dynasty na ibabawal and we can like move forward on this chicken and egg thing. You were talking about the definition of the sizes of the political dynasty.
Actually, di ba may study or parang may tinatawag tayong fat and thin dynasties here in the Philippines na fat dynasty na more than two people from the same family occupying government posts, elective positions at the same time. Tapos may tinatawag tayong thin dynasty na succession naman na parang
alternate lang.
Actually, kahit naman sa ibang bansa may ganong
Lalo na Southeast Asia.
Even the US, right? Parang one of the things that's notable about this election is the first time that there's no Bush and there's no Clinton. Yeah, running for the highest office kasi parang, and there's another clan, I think. Basta parang paikot-ikot lang din sa kanila.
Pero sa kanila, within the states, laging palitan lang din, di ba? Or sabay-sabay.
Actually, napaisip nga ako na, would it be, would a small step be to make a conservative definition of a dynasty? Baby steps. Just to, alam mo yan, baka sakaling kagatin ng mga kongresista. I don't know if that's a possibility.
Diba? Baka pwede mag-agree sila anong maximum.
Maximum, yeah.
Diba? Parang, wag naman 5.
Has it been natakol na ba siya in a serious manner? Or parang they also skirt around?
Nung 30 years ba? Parang I remember, parang may small discussion, specifically noong tinatalakay yung shift to federalism, to changing the constitution. Pero even then, nag-fizzle out lang yung
And the ones filing anti-dynasty bills na hindi nagpa-prosper palagi are usually the progressives. No? Yung hindi galing sa dynasties talaga. So if dynasties are here to stay, how do you suggest we engage with them?
We have no choice.
Or if we want to dismantle the dynasties, what do you think the voters should do?
No, ang sad lang isipin na the burden, again, the onus nga, the burden is on the voters, civil society. So this, oh my God. So parang David and Goliath battle. Kasi parang yun nga, parang as you're trying to create a grassroots campaign, for instance, to, again, ang gas-gas per create those champions, find new options, parang nagka-calcify naman yung dynasties as we're seeing in 2025, right? They're trying to calcify their holds on their fiefdoms in effect. So parang, but I think there's a sad but hopeful na metaphor na ginamit ng isang kausap ko na galing Liberal Party dati. Parang kumbaga, it's like scratching at the wall, right? Like, it's
a wall.
It's a wall, and it'll take time. But the important thing is that you never stop scratching at the wall, and may kalelyebo ka dapat at all times.
Pupuntahan ko yung sinasabi mo, you shouldn't stop. I think may problema din kasi that the organizations like political parties, yung mga civil society groups, baka din kasi nag-stop ba tayo sa ating initiatives at campaign kapag hindi election cycle?
Right.
Kasi it has to be done, it has to be sustained year in and year out kahit hindi election cycle.
And that's a maturity that countries like the US are very, or like even the Western democracies are very mindful of. Na parang all the more na magkatrabaho sila in between election cycles. Kasi nga, that's your opportunity to actually create relationships with the electorate, right? Sa atin, nga.
Mahirap yung bigla nilang susulpot na.
2022, yung mga kakampings, ang lakas ng movement, and then nung natalo sila, parang maraming na-discourage. Hindi.
Kumbaga, hindi na-harness yung energy.
Babalik tayo sa sinabi ni Dr. Magay na, kasi nga, pag Western, parang it took them 500 years.
No, that's also fair. I mean, I think we also tend to forget how young this...
Parang,
not even with the 100 years, Ms. Gigi. Kasi 86 yung cut-off natin technically na we had to restart, right? So parang, someone also pointed that out to me na parang...
So decades old pa lang tayo.
Parang it's messed up, but you have to consider na it's only...
40.
It's a little older than I am. So parang, di ba, parang, nga naman, if you think about it that way, ang dami pa talagang birthing pain. We are still going through the birthing pains.
In the last election, we had this suggestion, na start in your own backyard daw. And that backyard means how you choose leaders in the most basic unit of governance, which is the barangay. Kasi totoo, it's lesser, parang we have less scrutiny of the dynasties, pero nagsisimula din dyan yan eh.
Most of them.
I was saying nga, parang minsan madaling makita ng national media yung governor at may kamag-anak na congressman.
But they forget.
Tapos sila lang yung sinasabi mong dynasty dun sa probinsya. Hindi mo lang 3 mayor pala magkakapatid. Or yung isang city pala, yung, alam mo, yung 5 barangay, magkakamag-anak yung, yung barangay captains, tas anak nila mga SK, di ba?
Well, speaking of barangay, meron ako before, nung early this year, February, nung meron akong story about the Marcos Dynasty. Meron din silang barangay captain na tumakbo. Yes, yung si Raymond from Barangay 88 San Jose in Tacloban City. So,
Sa Romualdez
Romualdez side. So, ayun, even the Marcos Romualdez dynasty has a presence at the barangay level. So, ganun ka, from the Malacanang to barangay hall.
And there were rumors before that one of the sons might run in Bacolod, was it?
Because the mother is from
Because
Bacolod. The first lady is from Bacolod.
Should we be thankful na they didn't push through? That didn't do.
Hindi, pero yan, yung ano na yan, yung trend na yan na sinasakop yung different districts and provinces, na institutionalize kasi since pinayagan ng COMELEC dati yung mga Cayetano, 'di ba? Mag-asawa kayo, supposedly you live in the same place, pero sinabi na it's okay for both of you to run in different districts. Eh di ba dapat may residency? So there were a lot of legalities around it, pero yung simpleng nakikita mo lang is mag-asawa, supposedly may residency sa iisang lugar.
And yet,
Are allowed to It almost happened in Marikina sa mga Teodoros kung hindi nag-usap-usap yung families, diba? Sige. So I'm going to ask our viewers, no? Correct. What interesting races do you have in your localities, and do you honestly think the aspirants, the candidates, in the case of party list, the nominees, have your interests in mind? Share with us your thoughts. We invite you to download the Rappler Communities app for free. We're flashing the QR code that you can scan, and once you're signed in, join the Philippine Politics channel. We also have the Voter Hotline channel where COMELEC staff members accept reports about violations, and they answer questions about their guidelines and rules and electoral activities. This is Miriam Grace Go on behalf of Cupin, Dwight, De Leon, and James Patrick Cruz. Thank you for watching Newsbreak Chats.